I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be doing the Valentine ornament. This is made out of our coyote gourds, and we do sell these on our website until we run out of the season, so get them while you can, because we do as many of these as we can, but they do run out. These are green peeled, so they're nice and clean and ready to go. You don't have to do anything to them. They're just ready to go for you. So the first thing I did when I had my gourd all ready to go is I base coated it in purple. And I picked a purple that was in similar color to my metallic purple that I wanted to use, because the purple metallic is so much thinner. It's better to base coat it in a couple of other to a similar color and then put your metallic over the top of that. Otherwise you'd be doing several coats of the metallic paint, and you don't want to do that. So once that's done, we let it dry. I'm going to be sponging it with some silver metallic paint. And my metallic paint, you can pick it up at the craft store, you can pick it up at Walmart, anything like that. I'm going to use a sea sponge and I'm going to wet it down, wring it all the way out, and then we're going to get into our silver. And you don't just plop right in the middle of it, you pull it from the side, up and down, and then once it looks really good, we're just going to come over to our gourd and we're going to sponge the silver on. And everybody always asks me how much to sponge. Sponging is a personal opinion. Some people like to do more, some people like to do less. Some people like darker, some people like lighter. So it's all in how you like it. I'm probably right about in the middle of the road. Alright, so we're going to let that dry just for a minute there and get ready to put this all together. The first thing I do when I get ready to paint this is we're going to put the top part of this design on this little silver part, so we know not where to put the rest of the design. So it's maybe a little bit wet first, but we're going to go ahead and try and continue here. I'm using my mini toppers, and this is an exclusive Miriam Joy product. And I pulled about the third one out. I'm going to set it right on top where I want my hanger to be. Now metallic is very hard to put your pencil or draw your pencil on with. So the first thing I did is I went to my stove and I turned it on and put the flame onto my charcoal pencil, and then it writes nice and bright. So if you've ever had something and you can't get your pattern on with your charcoal pencil, that is why. Now you can come over and kind of give yourself kind of a heart shape if that's easier for you, or if you want to just wing it, that's fine too. It's just a basic pattern. Now because it's metallic paint, don't push really hard. You just want to kind of basically go along the top of it. Otherwise you kind of push on your paint and scratch it. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to come back in and tie those up. We're all done with our little mini circle templates. And we're going to start working on our design. There is no right or wrong on this. And I apologize because I've been doing a lot of roses this Valentine's Day, but to me that's kind of the symbol of Valentine's Day, is the roses and kind of the lacy look. So we're just going to do that, and I'm trying to melt my red off of here before I put it into my white wax or Crayola crayon. So we've got that all nice and clean, and I'm going to dip into my white now. I'm going to stir my white. White is one of these colors that needs stirred a little bit more than the other colors. Otherwise, unless it separates, don't worry about it. So we're going to start putting our design on here. Now, this is Crayola crayon. And this is a process that I refer to as wax design. If you're not familiar with my process, please go to my website, miriamjoy.com. There is a video on there that explains the basics of wax technique. We don't go into all of that detail because we want to keep these shorter for you to enjoy. And you don't have to do them the exact same on each side. You can do them different. I'm just going to kind of do them both on the same kind of side. And like I said, there is no right or wrong. I do have Valentine's patterns if you need some help. Sometimes I even need help. If you kind of having a day where you can't think of anything, or you know, we all have those. We'll just kind of have a mind block. And I know you're probably not going to see this quite as well as I'd like to. It's hard to paint upside down and let you guys see it as well. And then I'm going to do kind of a little fleur-de-lis in the center there. Put a dot there. I'm going to do a dot there. The dots just kind of help clean it up, and you can put them over the ends of everything. And alright, so we've got our little heart done. I'll do one more dot right there. And I'm going to do some little small roses. Now these are really little, so I'm going to go down to my 0 tool, and I am going to get the wax and the fuzz off of there. Start with the smallest end, and we're going to do 3 strokes. I usually start my roses off with 3 strokes. And then we go to the next row. And I'm just going to stay with the number 1 or the small end and do that. So now we're going to try and sneak. I think I'm going to move it over here, more in the middle. Should allow more room for it. Think about that when you're putting on your white. You want to allow room for your rose. So I probably shouldn't have put that guy in right there. But that's okay. We always just work with what we've got. Now we're going to come back in. I'm going to switch up to just the larger end. I'm going to use the yellow green, and I might switch down. We'll see here. We're going to just add some leaves. And there is no right or wrong on them. We're just going to kind of fill in some areas just to give it some color. Okay. Now after looking at this design, it doesn't quite fill in the way the other one does, so what I'm going to do is add another rose over here and just fill it all in with roses. And I like to do things like this and change things so that you can see that it doesn't always work the way I think it should work for me either. Just do what you feel works. There is no right or wrong, as I was saying. Just add some more green. So I just filled him in basically now. And I think that looks pretty good. Alright. Now, on the rest of it, I did some larger roses, and I switched, same tool, just the larger end, just a dot, and then we're going to do our 3 strokes. And then hopefully 5. If you only get 4 in there, that's okay, but try to do an odd number. And I'm going to switch directions. Alright, and then I'm going to make them kind of, so they're not all in a line. I'm going to do some at the top and some at the bottom. Do them all the way around. Switch directions, you pull in your stroke. And I'm only going to get 3 in here, and that's okay. So we've got our roses in, and then I'm going to come back in, give them a little bit of green leaf. Doing 3 to kind of make them a little bit more leafy like, but kind of a wispy feel to it, I guess is what we're shooting for. And I'm adding 3 leaves, keeping that number odd too as well. And just kind of feeling where it needs it, where you need more to fill in. That one I just did too. Okay, so we've added our little roses to this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the silver color, and we're going to do the tops, and we're also going to use that as our accent color. The one thing that I'm doing different with my crayons, instead of cutting them into pieces with my hobby knife, I'm cutting them with my scissors. And I'm just changing out my color here. I'm going to put the silver in. And this is where my fuzz comes from. So I'm going to make sure I don't spend the time I should, and I yell at everybody else for doing it, on cleaning your tools off. So take your scissors and cut it. You also can break it with your hands, that's not a big deal. But don't use your hobby knife, that's one less chance of cutting yourself. So on this one, I'm going to stick with my small tool, my 0 tool. And those are available on my website, any of my wax products or tools that I'm using, the melting pots, the trays, any of that type of thing. And we're going to start at our top, and we're going to go, the first one was 12 o'clock, the second one was a 6 o'clock position. And when you're doing it, always pull it towards you and turn it around and pull it again towards you. Make it work for you. When I'm doing it, I have learned how to do it upside down, inside, backwards, and all kinds of weird positions. I made the first 4 positions, and now I'm making them into 8. It's always easy. I always say if you can cut pie, you can do this. Now we're turning it into 16. Just going to fill that top up. Nice. And we're going to put our hanger right there in a minute. Now we're also going to take this color and we're going to use this to fill in some of the rest of our areas. And we're just going to kind of come in and we're just going to do a swirl. Just here and there wherever we need to kind of fill up our areas. I'm going to do one up here. You also can do a smaller swirl and use that as the inside of your rose and just put your green petals on it, and that's really cute too. So there's a bunch of things that you can do with that. Now we're not going to put anything on the bottom, so don't neglect the bottom of the gourd. Make sure you're turning them and going different directions, that they're not all the same. Okay, now we're going to come back in and we're going to give it some little white dots just to give it a pop of color to make it really show up. What we're doing is low dot, dot, dot. So you're doing descending dots. And you can see how that just really helps the color, brings it to life. It also helps fill in everything a little bit better. If you have a space where you feel you need some dots but you don't have room for 3, just do 1. There's no right on that. Okay, so we've got that guy all filled in. Just kind of checking him and making sure he is. Now at this point in time, take your Mr. Clean and Magic eraser, lightly dampen it, and remove all of the white lines. And we should only have these where we put our heart, or if you put anything else on, and the ones around the circle. And then you can varnish it. I like to use on something like this a triple thick brush on varnish, because this is an ornament that's probably going to get handled a little bit more than just your regular spray on varnish, and it keeps it nice and attached and keeps your gourd and the wax in place. So remember, this is wax. Do not put it in direct sunlight. And if you're giving it as a gift, you should tell that person, unless you go back and put probably the minimum of 3 different coats of the triple thick brush on. Now we're going to make our little hanger here real quick, and this is just cording, and however long you want your little hanger. And we have our little bead cap, and I get these at Hobby Lobby, and they're actually fit right over the top of a bead. That's what they are, and I really like those, especially for this. And they do come in gold and silver. And just take your cording and tie it in a knot. And we're just going to glue this right onto our gourd. Now, I hot glue gun it, and I do not have any problems with that coming off. If you're more comfortable, then E6000 it right onto your gourd. And E6000 is just an epoxy glue that is a really, really durable glue, and you can find that at your craft stores or Walmart. And slide this hanger through your bead cap to the top, just like that. And then we're going to fill this up with glue. We're going to fill this bead cap all the way up with glue. You don't want so much glue that when you squish it on that it's going to come out, but you want enough that it's all touching onto that. Line that up there nice and evenly. Look where your hanger is going to hang. Make sure you kind of line that up with your design so that you have that. And I didn't. I thought that was the design, and it's over here. So you want to line that up, position that up. And I'm going to put a little bit more glue in it because I messed with it as it was drying. But see, that's why we leave all of our bloopers. So if I do it, you'll probably do it down the road sometime too. So you know how to fix it. So just redid it, set it right on there, and let that dry. Then you have your nice little Valentines gourd. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions about this project, please email me at art@miriamjoy.com. For any of the wax design tools or any of the Crayola products that we may have used today, please visit my website at miriamjoy.com. And excuse me, that's not Crayola products, it is wax design using the Crayola products. Visit my website at miriamjoy.com. You will also find the video on there with the wax basics, as well as a YouTube link that takes you over to more of these fun videos, as well as general information that you may have a question about. There is also a Facebook link that is Miriam Joy Gourd Creations, where we post something new daily to inspire you. Thank you for joining me today. God bless.